Captain has the gun.
Spotted on radar. Fire. Ahead. 2,000 meters.
Ocean, make condition 1.
Enemy destroyed.
Target identified. Destroyer.
Contact Barry. 280. 5,000 meters.
Target identified. Light cruiser.
Contact Barry. 280. 7,000 meters.
Engines, flank speed.
On target. Near miss.
Engines, all stop.
You're telling me I just spoke to you for the past 5 minutes with a muted microphone. God damn it. Oh, no. Every now and then, for some unknown reason, OBS decides to unselect my microphone, and I didn't realize that. Man, am I rusty. So let's go over that again, shall we? Oh well. USS Roanoke. Let's go again. God, yeah. Not that well armored. It's a standard light cruiser for the Americans, but I mean, 5-inch belt. It will protect your engines somewhat. It does protect the engine somewhat. But other than that, standard American cruiser protection. The turrets are fairly well armored. And they're also relatively small targets, so good stuff. The reload, but I think you already caught that earlier, I hope, is 5 seconds, 1 second faster compared to the other American 6-inch armored cruiser. Light cruiser, jeez. Really fast turning turrets. Decent gun arcs, but not exceptional, I find. Anti-armament, of course, being for a post-war cruiser. Automatic 3-inch guns with VT, although you do have to unlock the VT as a rank 2 modification. And of course, for the main guns, you have to unlock the VT as a rank 4 modification. Hello, Zepti. Please ignore the first few minutes of the stream, as I apparently was muted. Oh. That's what you come here for, right? Professional streaming? Of course. Anyways, Roanoke comes after the Brooklyn, which I showed earlier as well. It was 125,000 RP, which is cheap. It is alright. What I was showing when I was test driving, but nobody heard, of course, it is very vulnerable for its crew compartments. It is a very long ship, as you might be able to tell for comparison. Like if you look at these ice flows, you go here, but the Brooklyn is a lot shorter, and even at the rear it's a lot shorter. Where you have that little triangular ice sheet, it almost reaches that. So it's a really, really long ship, and it has crew compartments going from here, in between turret number 1 and 2, all the way to in between turret 5 and 6. So it has a really, really big area where you can just knock out crew compartments. I was testing earlier with Trickstick and somebody else, and basically every single salvo they fired chunked 10% of my crew away. And I was just like 10% for this one, 10% for the next one, and so on and so on and so on. No real difficult compartments to reach. It's just from here to here, all above the armored belt. I could tell because I did some testing for the stream, but you can also tell if you really want to check it out for yourself. Take some AP, just minimize the range because you don't care, and you shoot, and you look. There we go, crew compartment. Those two, by the way, are counted as the same crew compartment, which is bizarre to me, but oh well. And same thing, you just go along the entire length of the ship, prodding it with shells and seeing where the crew compartments lie. So I'll just do this as well. As you can see, just crew compartments all the way along the deck, basically. And yes, there are crew compartments in between the front turrets. Yeah, it has anti-frag, but HE doesn't do anything to cruisers anyway, anti-frag or not. And I think if you have a cruiser firing high explosive at you, that cruiser is making some mistakes already. But it's not enough armor to actually prevent yourself from dying. Another thing I wanted to say, but again, because my microphone is muted, because professionalism, the magazine for number 4 is vulnerable. Whilst it is just below the waterline, the magazine for turret number 4 and its auxiliary and main magazine, at longer ranges, plunging fire basically means you'll hit here, but you hit the back side of the magazine and you'll just detonate it. It is squishy. I wouldn't say it's like exceptionally squishy. I wouldn't say it's Belfast's level of squishy, because it is a bit more... It's a somewhat smaller target compared to Belfast. And yes, it is an asymmetrical shell layout. It's a really, really weird like magazine layout for that magazine. Also, mainly because there is like a fire control room right next to it. Same for the front here, a massive fire control room. But yeah. It's Remember, this is also stock, so the speed is slow. I don't have any for the modifications. Let me actually check. 52, that's 54, roughly. It'll be 57. 61, that is the standard speed for a cruiser. But it is a bit slow in the turn, I found, because it's so long. But it's a cool looking cruiser. Like modern anti-air, although I'm not really too happy with the 76mm VT. I feel a little bit too small of an explosive radius. I'd rather have 5-inch, but oh well. The turrets rotate fast. It does have a air radar. I'm not sure if it has a locking air radar. Let me actually go for a test sail again, now that you all can actually hear me.
Captain has the gun.
It has air radar of some description.
Target
It does have an air
identified.
locking radar,
Hider.
Contact bearing.
as you can see.
260, 2,000 meters. Radio bridge.
Another reason I wanted to go into the test drive was just to show the high, like the fast FCS here,
2,000 meters.
fast lead indicator.
Ocean.
I
make
personally never
condition
really
one.
relied on the
Target
FCS too
identified.
much,
Heavy cruiser.
although having a fast one never hurts.
With
With these very slow shells, I don't think it's a bit...
Target destroyed.
I don't know, I never really relied too much on the FCS. But it's a cool ship, it's just a cool ship. It's not really meta-breaking, meta-defining, anything like that.
Enemy hit.
Just a cool post-war light cruiser, a unique ship to be added. It's a 5-second reload, by the way, not 4.5, 5 second. 5 second. So yeah, it does fire 1 second faster than the Brooklyn with a maxed out crew, but it does have 3 less guns. But I think this will be just a cool addition. It's a cool 6.0 cruiser. And then we'll go on to the next ship, as long as there aren't any more questions. I did say that the turret number 4 is vulnerable crew compartments. Engines are decently well protected. In the testing I did, the engines never really got knocked out. But oh well. To the Des Moines, I think the Des Moines is a fast rate of fire, isn't it? Let me crew mine. There we go. Elevation limits. Let me just look at it in X-ray. I think it is 85. No, 78. So it can't go straight up. Yes, the fire control descriptions did change subsea, but I'm gonna get to that. Just give me a moment. I just want to go over the new ships first, then new mechanics and so on. But this is interesting, good question, Evan. It is definitely a 6.0 cruiser. These are still the same guns as on Brooklyn, but a higher rate of fire, just 3 less. The FCS does indeed say 6 seconds first calculation and 3 second update timer. I really like the ship. It's a relatively cheap cruiser as well. Definitely one I was looking out for, but I was going to look at the reloads now, wasn't I? So again, with a maxed out crew, 5 seconds. Newport News is 6 seconds. Brooklyn is also 6 seconds. So this has one of, I think, if not the, no, it doesn't have the highest rate of fire of a cruiser, because that prize, that title goes to HMS Tiger. But it's definitely up there as one of the fastest firing light cruisers. Anyway, cool ship, I'm looking forward to it. And just to repeat, it comes after the Brooklyn Fargo group here at rank 5. Next ship, the Orion, which is of course that's Marlborough, because I do not have Orion yet. Orion, a predecessor to Marlborough, and I wouldn't say a much worse ship, but definitely a worse ship. It has the same main guns, it has a similar armor scheme, if not quite light still. But the one thing that I find to be quite a detriment compared to Marlborough is the secondaries. The secondaries on HMS Orion are 4-inch or 102mm. That won't really do much against cruisers. I mean, you do have SAP, but that penetration is kind of garbage, and I don't think 4-inch is going to do much. I mean, the crew exposure isn't really that big of a problem. Well, Marlborough, but then they're difficult to pronounce ship names, has 12 6-inch guns, which are much more useful against cruisers. but still a similar armor scheme. I'm also not really too familiar with the Marlborough itself. My Marlborough, for example, is stock. I've played it once, so I'm not entirely sure how the two compare, but I do get the feeling the Orion will be just a bit worse, but it is a nice backup to have to your Marlborough in your lineup, as it is just your second 6.7 VR ship. It's definitely an addition, not really something most British mains that I know were looking forward to, but it exists, I guess. Then on to the next one, I guess, unless there's any more questions or remarks, and even if there is, I can always go back. We go to Japan, we go to the coastal fleet, because, and we get Asago. Now, I have somebody who sometimes knows things beforehand, and they thought this was the Asagao, which is like a Wakatake class destroyer. Nope, it's Asago, which is just a Japanese LCS. I'm not entirely sure what to think of this thing. It just, I mean, sure, give Japan an LCS, I'm fine with that. I did get linked a forum post for this suggestion of this ship, and that also mentioned that this frontal 76 was also a dual 40 mil. But I mean, I guess, okay, it isn't. It's just a weird thing for Japanese coastal to add, and also annoyingly enough, it's a rank 5, like in between two frigates. It is genuinely the only Japanese ship past 3-3 that isn't a frigate. I mean, it could be useful in your coastal lineup, I guess, if you wanted to take like Chidori, Asago, and Isuzu. You'd actually have one coastal to contest that capture point with. And the LCS, the American one, is not a bad coastal vessel. It's not really the tankiest one, because it has, if I'm not mistaken... I'll just fire, yeah, high capacity. Yeah, it has the normal coastal damage model of hull segments, so... it'll get shredded pretty quickly by high tier coastals. But it's cool, I guess. One unique thing about this is that it has these rockets on the front, which I sadly can't test, but it's Mark 7 barrage rockets. Some kind of bombardment rockets, like coastal bombardment rockets, I'm not too sure. I highly doubt they'll be of any use in naval, because they seem to be in fixed launchers. But yeah, this is also an addition to Japan. I mean, I'm not really complaining, I do like the LCS, it's a pretty fun gunboat. It's just odd to see in a Japanese tree. I don't think those are anti-submarine rockets, I think they're specifically like coastal bombardment rockets. Because I think if I go look at the American coastal tree, I don't have that as LCS either. This thing does also get rockets, but they're specifically hedgehogs, aren't they? Oh, doesn't it get rockets? Huh. Could have sworn that this thing also had like anti-submarine rockets. Odd. But yeah, the Japanese 3.7 Asago. It also exists. And then we get onto, sadly already, the final naval edition of this dev server. And that is, of course, if we go to the naval section, the premium Courbet. It is quite a odd looking ship. But it is basically a earlier version of the Paris we already have in game, which is of course also a Courbet class. So if we look at Courbet herself, same secondaries, same main guns, different superstructure and a lack of anti-air. Armor wise, let me actually check. 250 is pretty light. I mean, the armor is pretty light for a battleship. 6.3 though can be forgiving in that sense. And what is it like compared to the Paris? Or Paris if you want to be fancy. Yeah, it's the same ship, just an earlier version of an earlier fit. As you can see that the Paris definitely got refitted with a more advanced superstructure and rangefinders and the like. Courbet is just an earlier version. In general, I don't really recommend you buy these kind of premium battleships if you don't really know what battleship gameplay is like. I'm also not too familiar with this class of battleship specifically, so I wouldn't be able to tell you if it's a good ship or not. But I guess it's something to give your Paris a backup, if you're playing the Paris itself. And I mean, that's 8,380 golden eagles. Is that the same cost as the Nassau? It is. It's just meh. It's a premium battleship for premium battleship's sake, which is to be expected. And that is it for the naval editions of this dev server. Now, something that was asked earlier. Fire control systems, and that's one of the mechanics that got changed, got faster. So on all World War II ships, for as far as I know, you have the fire solution calculation time now being 15 seconds and the update time being 8 seconds. I don't know what off the top of my head what it is on the live server at the moment, but it is significantly faster. So if you are somebody who really likes the use of that lead indicator you get in naval, you get it a little bit easier, a little bit faster. Other than that, I'm not sure if it's completely normalized. Again, I haven't actually looked through every single ship, but I believe it is. I'm not sure. Let me actually just look at German fire control. Of course, I do not have the German lineup ready. I do actually, hold on. Yeah, that's also 15.8. If I go to a Russian... Well, let's go to Chapayev. Also 15.8. I believe it's like standardized, normalized. I'm not sure, but it has become faster compared to the live server. But now another thing that got changed, which might be nice for the few of you that actually use mines, and I'll use the Kuma as an example. Although I think it's a better showcase on the VS8. Because you actually see the mines a lot better on that thing. Is if you now hold down the mine drop button, you will start dropping mines automatically. I will now just go like a third ahead. I want to go at a constant speed, or try to. The VS8 is a bit finicky in this though. So now keep an eye on this, like my mine indicator. I'm gonna hold down control. When A appears, I let go of control. It will now automatically start dropping mines as soon as that reload timer is done. It'll drop a mine every single time. As you can see. Which is... me and a few others play tournaments, and this can be really useful because you now no longer have to like manually keep track of your mine reload speed to drop minefields, especially whilst you're maneuvering or trying to get around. This is not really destroy with. I should be going slower if I wanted to drop an optimum minefield, but this is now a thing. And to stop it, you just hold down control again until the A disappears and you let go. However, letting go of the control button after you cancel the automatic drop will still drop a final mine. But there's now also a thing. A bit of an optimization for minefield deployment. You can go slower than this trick. If I actually show him the little trick. Where is it? It's in movement. Yeah, main engine. If I slow down my control sensitivity, and I wait for it to stabilize and speed again. You can, like, fine-tune speeds to be an individual kilometer an hour. If I can just get it to work, it's still slowing down. Let's actually go a bit faster. If I can. But you can do that. If you change your sensitivity, it'll change the speed at which you accelerate. Like, hold on, I'll show you this. So I'm now going flank ahead. I am going to change my sensitivity to 100%, which is a standard. And look at how quickly it'll change speed, right? I'm just going to hold down the button. That's the standard, right? Of me just holding down the button. if I now go and change the sensitivity to like 30%, which is I usually do for slower maneuvering, I am again going to hold down the button. So if you ever have a bunch of friends and want to do like a really good formation sailing, you can adjust your speed to the exact kilometer an hour. It is not that useful in actual battle, but it is a possibility. So again, I'm just holding down the button to do that. Let's go up to 100% again. So I can have fine control. But yeah, minefield deployment. There is, yeah, data mines. As with most dev servers, lots of stuff gets data mined, lots of stuff changes over the course of the dev server. This one, by the way, is open until the 11th, which I believe is Monday. And yeah, there is at least 2 data mined ships, one being the assumedly Italian premium battleship. In the files is Leonardo da Vinci, which is a Conte de Cavour class battleship, but we're assuming it'll be a pre-refit Conte de Cavour, so probably similar to Andrea Doria. And we think it'll be the Italian premium battleship. We have yet to see. Another data mine ship is the French, oh god, I don't know how to pronounce this, Vauquelin class destroyer, which is basically just a slightly improved Aigle class. Similar guns, slightly different torpedoes, slightly different hull shape. But yeah, so there is another French destroyer and a Italian battleship in the files that we know for sure are there. Is there anything else I can think of? I actually have to check my notes, because I do make notes on the dev server stuff. No, that's actually about it. Can you try the capture? Like, just try it? I've seen that capture. And I don't know if you can just, like, try it. Because it's like something that pops up every time you go into a battle, isn't it? Wouldn't even know how to find it. Oh well. So yeah, that's it for the naval editions. It's not every time, I think it just pops up. I don't know, Zapti. I haven't encountered it yet. I've played a battle or two. Yep. Yeah, sure thing, Sky, because I basically already went over everything in 20-ish minutes. If there's anything else specifically somebody wants to look at on the dev server, tell me. I am here. I have access to it. The new key for tracking. I have seen that key. Actually, that's a good shout out. I was about to completely forget about that. There's controls and there's this key. And I have absolutely no clue what it does. I'm probably just going to try this out on my own later. But I have no clue what it does. Fixed. Not that I know of. I don't think anything like that changed. The HE bug is eternal. Yeah. So he just quickly wants to look at the... I don't think so, Trick. Oh, hold on. Yeah, I'm going to quickly test it out. I'm going to go back to Roanoke because fast FCS. And I am going to test that out. But after that, Zapti, I'll definitely look at the Yak cockpits in just a moment.
Bring us to General
Let's
quarters.
actually get a keybind for the new control though. Do I use that one? I do, but that actually doesn't function anymore, so let's just remove that. Resume. So I lock onto the
Target
ship.
identified. Light cruiser.
Contact bearer. 280. 7,000 meters. Spotted on radar. Fire.
The button is not doing anything.
2,000 meters.
I am
Ocean,
definitely
make
pressing it, but it's
condition
not doing
one.
anything.
Enemy vessel sunk.
I have no clue what it is. No clue. Is it like... It's not a lock-on button itself. I think I'll have to look into that over the coming days. There's also, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Olivia, who's a pretty big, like, or famous leaker. There are some spicy things in the most recent leak she posted. I think it's a she, I'm not entirely sure. One of which being the rumored winter event ship is USS Mississippi, which is a like standard type battleship, but a bit better than what we have at the moment. I do indeed have a squadron, of course, but it's the dev server, so squadrons aren't there. But I do have a squadron. Let me just... I'll type it in the chat for you, what the squadron is. The Novorossiysk, that's an other leak, Lord Igorius, if I say this correctly. The leak I'm talking about was only, I think, dropped earlier today, like a few hours ago. And it has USS Mississippi on it, which we did see earlier as BB-41, which is presumably the winter event ship. And it looks to be kind of promising. Novorossiysk, I'm not entirely sure yet. It's an Italian battleship. But the spicy thing that was on that most recent leak is Mutsu. Aigen Mutsu. Now, with the Olivia leaks, there's never really a time frame on them, and I highly doubt we'll get a Mutsu this update. But Olivia's leaks are usually correct, and we aren't sure what's going to happen to that. Also, I'm trying to find... There you are. Just wanted to type that in. There we go. So yeah, that is fairly spicy to see on a leak list. But anyways, that's really it for naval. I'm just gonna go look at the yak cockpits somebody was asking about. Zapsy specifically, of course. I don't actually even... Do I even own any of them? I'll just look in a test flight real quick. There we go. Now, of course, I don't actually know what the Yak 3 looks like normally. Zapsy. So if you're seeing anything specific, or if it's a specific model you want to look at, please tell me. Looks like a fine plane cockpit. But yeah. I do own some Phantoms, but not the American ones. The only real like jet aircraft I own, especially the higher tier stuff, is just Japan. Which is gonna be fun soon, but oh well. I don't any of the American, not even the British Phantoms. I just don't have them. I don't really care too much about the higher tier jets, I just have the Japanese ones because I'm the Japanese main. Why not? But yeah. But I'd rather not spend too much time on like the aircraft specifics because I don't know what I'm looking for aircraft. Oh, like for the cockpit side change, I don't have the buttons bound for that. Yeah, I don't have the buttons bound for that for the keyboard. But yeah. I keep thinking I'm forgetting. Oh yeah, the only one other naval change I wanted to mention is that coal bunkers are now less resistant to torpedoes. There's also a bunch of other like bug fixes, UI changes. Like you saw one of them in the earlier where it had like this little icon next to the gun circles. A bunch of very specific ship changes. Another thing to maybe note in the naval context is that the G8, this Japanese bomber, has some pretty big AP bombs now as well. Also, AP bombs are really... I still have to make my video on like the last update and on submarines, which really need to do that. But AP bombs are really difficult to use, I find. I guess it's nice that they get more AP bombs. But yeah, that's literally it. 4 new ships currently on the dev, 2 more Datamined, and likely to come. The mine thing is interesting. It's a nice change because it makes mine laying a lot easier on your... a lot easier to micromanage, really. But other than that, that's it. And I think I'm gonna leave it at that as well, as short as this stream may be. If there are any last few questions, I'll just keep it running for another few minutes. Any other specific questions about the dev that I might help you with. If it's like really specific, I can't really help you. I mean, in what part is Renown broken? It still has the above, like, waterline magazine, doesn't it? Can't actually really see because of the ice sheets now, but yeah, that's pretty close. Oh yeah, they were. I was planning to make like a list of every single AP bomb and every single aircraft that carried them, but I might have to actually try and do that soon. But yeah, it is a bit annoying that like Britain hasn't gotten a capital ship in a year and a half, something like that, and they just get a worse Marlborough. Yeah, if ships are getting ammo-racked by HE, that is not a ship-specific problem. That is HE bug still being a thing. Or basically sometimes HE will just completely ignore armor. Because it fused on water first, I think? It's something like that. I'm not entirely sure how the HE bug works. I never really got it to work in my favor. Like maybe once or twice, months ago. But yeah. The one good thing about Orion is that I finally have an excuse to actually spade my hood and my Marlborough. Same really with the Asago, being finally able to spade my PT-808, even though it's 2 ranks apart. The draft on most ships is too shallow. Again, not a renowned specific problem. No clue, genuinely. The HE bug befuddles me to this day. But oh well. That's the naval stuff. I am going to end it here for tonight. If anything major gets updated to the dev server in terms of naval, I am probably going to just update it via community post. I don't know if many of you actually really see it. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to try, if when the update goes live, to make a small update summary video, which I should still do by the last update, but I'll get that there eventually, hopefully. Anyways, thank you all for watching, especially with my gaffe of not having my microphone on for the first 6 minutes. God damn it. And I'll see you all in the next one. See ya, and thank you for watching.